So in this video we are going to be making the two-piece. So first thing you're going to do is just to fold your fabric into two, like how I did here. If you look at it, you see that I have fabric that is folded into two, one for the back and one for the front. Both are folded. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and measure your shoulder, the length you would want. So I'm using 34, that is including my seam allowance to fold the end. My seam allowance is 1.5, so by the time I'm done, I should be left with maybe 32.5 or so. So what I'm going to do next is to go ahead and the width of the fabric here is supposed to be your hip divided by 4, or the widest part of your body, maybe your bust divided by 4 plus 2 inches, right? 1 inch of ease, 1 inch of seam allowance. It depends on how free you want to make yours. See, I'm working with Akara, so, and it has some starch to it. I didn't want to make it too big, then it will now be too free. So that's why I just did half an inch of ease and 1 inch of my seam allowance. So what I have here is my hip is 12, like my hip is 48 divided by 4 is 12. So all I did is just to add 1.5 to it. So this is it here, 12, and then if you see, I have about 1.5 here. So what I'm going to do is just to go up to the shoulder now, and I'm going to insert my shoulder divided by 2 minus 1. So whatever your shoulder measurement is, I'm doing minus 1 because it's sleeveless, right? So you always remove 1 inch. So that is going to leave me with 7, because normally it should have been 8. Mark it here, and then I'm going to come down 1 inch of shoulder slope. And after that, I'm going to set my armhole. If you don't know how to calculate it, just do your round your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. That's how you get the length. So for me, I'm using about 9 down here. Connect it all the way to the upper part here. And on this line, I'm going to insert my bust divided by 4, which is supposed to be about 42 or so. Go ahead and mark that. And then I'm also going to go ahead and add like half an inch of ease and 1 inch of seam allowance. So ideally, if you're working with yours, half an inch of ease is okay for the bust. If you look at her bust, it's not too fitted there. Where I was saying add like 1 inch of ease is at the hip part, right? 1 inch of ease is okay at the hip part, or even 1.5, just so it's free. But for the bust, stick to half an inch of ease. You don't want it too free by the bust, because it's just like almost like an A-line. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to go back up again, and then I'm going to measure from my shoulder to my waist, my shoulder to my hip, right? So I'm going to skip my waistline and then go down to my hip, and I'm going to mark the measurement I need, which is the total length of the fabric. That is my waist divided by my hip divided by 4 plus the 1.5. All I'm going to do now is just to go ahead, connect from this end here to my bust all the way down, and then from there every other thing remains straight down like this. I'm just going to use the rest of the fabric straight, you see. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut. Guys, if you would want, you can still go in here, but that is not the style. Just the style is actually just to leave it flay from your bust to your hip, and then from your hip it goes down straight. That is the style. So now what I'm going to do is just to go ahead now, go up to the neckline, and I'm going to just mark 3 inch here, connect the shoulder slope to this point, and then I'm going to give it a curve by the armhole, just like this. And this is it. All you have to do is just come down 1 inch for the neck depth. This is for the back. The front is going to be 3 inch here. So all I have to do is just cut, guys. We're done. All you have to do is just cut the shoulder slope, cut the neckline, cut the shoulder slope, cut every other thing down to this point. You'll stop here, because this here is just all you need. So guys, once it's done, all you have to do is just to separate the two. one is the back, one is the front. So whichever one you decide to use as your front. One more change is what we're going to make here. Come down on the neckline by extra 2 inches. The total depth of your neckline is supposed to be 3. We've taken away 1, so we're going to go back in and take away the other 2 now. So give it this curve like this, and then I'm going to cut this part out here, just like this, the way it is. So I'll cut this out, you see, and then all I have to do for the back, for the front, all I have to do is just to cut 3 inches for the neck depth, and then for the back, all I have to do is just to go down here by 5 inches, right? Split it open by at least 5, this much, you see. And then you're going to take a piece of fabric this way and use it as like a facing to turn it over. So something like this now. I'm just going to take it the way it is, open up the back panel, because it depends on you what you want to do. If you want, you can make yours a tie, and I'm thinking I'm going to make mine a tie that will drop at my back. So go from the neck and drop at my back. Or if you want, you can make yours a button. After putting your band, add a button and a button loop. It depends on you what you want. Or you can even use a pressing button. But for me, or iron hook, right? So it depends on you. I'm just going to make mine a belt. So the next thing you're going to do is just to take the piece that you cut out, put it behind like this. Go ahead, go to your sewing machine, and then you're going to sew half an inch down all the way to this point. Come up here, sew back half an inch here, split it open in the center and use it to turn it over. Iron it down. You understand? So once you make this stitch like this, you're going to split the fabric underneath it all the way to the point where this one stopped, and then turn it inside out and iron it. So that will serve as the facing for the neckline. Join the shoulder to the shoulder, right? Use bias to run the armhole. Use bias to run the 2 sides of your armhole. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my stitch all the way like 2 inches before I get to my hip line. 2 inches before the hip line. This is my hip line. 2 inches before that, and then the rest will be open. See, I've used bias to run round the armhole here, both sides of the armhole. So if you feel like yours is gaping, if you look at the video, you see that her own is gaping by the armhole. So what I would advise is just pinch like half an inch like this, and just give it like a 3-inch length dart here, just by your armhole. Maybe come up here by 3 inches, and then pinch like half an inch here, and then go in like 2 to 3 inches in on both sides, so yours is not gaping by the armhole. Or if you want, you can still leave it the way it is. It normally comes with sleeveless. So another thing is that for the side here, you notice that like I said, I was going to stop 2 inches before my hip line. If you want, you can stop 1 inch before your hip line. Just stop somewhere that you can be able to put your hand in your pocket, in your pant pocket, right? So after that, remember we use 1 inch for our seam allowance. So what I'm going to do is just to go ahead, that 1 inch on this side, I'm going to sew it down, and then I'm going to cross over to this other side, and then also sew down this other 1 inch. You understand? So start from this side, sew that 1 inch down, cross over here, and then sew that 1 inch down, iron it. That way I've hemmed the side. I'm going to do it on both sides. And then for the neckline, the next thing I have to do is that, like I was telling you guys, whatever you want, you can do on the neckline. Her own, I think, is a band, but for me, I'm going to add a belt that will just tie at the back of my neck. So what I'm going to do is you're going to go ahead and measure around your neck what it is, right? Whatever it is, you're going to, so you're going to start from one end here. You see what I was saying about the facing is done now, right? So what you're going to do is that you're going to measure from one side of your neck, go down to the front and come back here. And then whatever it is, you're going to find the center of your belt, whatever length you want to use here. You can use like 50 inches of length, and then you're going to notch the center and know that that is your center, right? And after that, you're going to go from that center. So let's say you measured yours and you got, I don't know, maybe 14. From wherever your center is, you're going to divide that measurement by 2. So from this center now, I'm going to do, if I got 14, what I'm going to do is, from this center, I'm going to mark 7. Stop here. From this other side, I'm going to mark 7. Stop here. And then I'm going to sew this close all the way to this point. That's 7 that I marked. And then sew this other part close all the way to the 7 dye mark. So the only opening I'm going to have here, from the center 7 inches down, from the center 7 inches down, and then I'm going to take it and join it to the neckline. So guys, this is what I was trying to explain. You see, this part is closed, this part is closed, so all I have is just this space in between, right? I've closed up the sides of the belt, flipped it inside out, and then ironed it down. So all I have to do is just to start from the center here, and then I'm going to, if you want, you can even start from one end here, and then all you have to do is just take the part here and then put this in between it like this, cover it up like this, and then continue sewing it until you get to the other side of the end, like this other end here, just like that. So you're just going to take one side at the end here, because this belt is going towards the back, and then put this part here inside it at the end, just like this, and continue sewing it round the collar until you get to the other side, just like that. So that's what I'm going to do now. Once I finish it, I'm going to hem the sides of my clothes, and that will be it. We'll move over to the trouser part. For the pants, this is what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to fold my fabric into 2. You see, it's folded, and the width I have here is my hip divided by 4 plus 1. So my hip divided by 4 plus 1 is 3, and then I have extra 3 inches. How I got this 3 inches, just basically divide your hip by 4, and then whatever you get, that's divide your hip by 4 and then divide it again. So if you my hip is 48, divided by 4 is 12. If I divide it again, that will be 3. That's divide it again by 4, that will be 3. So that 3 is going to serve as your crotch here. So now this pant I'm making is going to have band in front, elastic at the back. I'm not going to be adding zip to it because I want it to be like a little bit free, right? So now I'm wearing it underneath the clothes, so it doesn't matter that it has elastic. So what you're going to do first is your hip divided by 4 plus 1, 13. I'm going to bring it down here also and mark it 13. I'm going to add my crotch measurement. If you don't know how to calculate it, just do your hip divided by 4. So that will be 12 for me. I'm going to subtract 2 inches for my band. I'm going to just mark it like this. But before that, let me also go ahead and mark half an inch at the waist here for my band. Right, half an inch of seam allowance here at the top. So the length I have here, I'm going to just place my tape at 2 inches because my band is going to be 2 inches, and then I'm going to mark wherever 12 is for me, which is here, just like that. And then I'm going to give it the curve here. After that, I'm going to go ahead and mark my waist to my knee, wherever that is for you. So it's usually 22 to 24, depending on how tall the person is. So I'm going to mark it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, wherever the length of your pant is, I'm just going to use the full length of this cloth. I'm going to go to the end here, and I'm going to take away 1.5 here. I'm going to also minus 1.5 here. I'm going to do the same with the knee, 1.5 here. I'm also going to take away 1.5 here. I'm going to go ahead and connect all of them together. So mark it straight all the way to the top here, just like that. I'm also going to mark the same on this other side too. 1.5 out, just like that. And then I'm going to connect it all the way. So basically my hip is going to be somewhere here. So my waist to my hip is at 10. My waist to my crotch is at 12. That's if I remove my 2 inch of band, right? So now I'm just going to connect this here, just like this, to this point. From here now, all the way. If you want, you can use this side though, just like that, blend it in. And I'm also going to do the same from here to here. This is a very simple pant. So all I have to do now is just to go ahead and cut. I'm going to cut from here out, follow this line down, and then split this open by the side, and then follow. Guys, this is what I was saying I'll cut out. You see, I cut out from this side here, this bit here, and then from here I cut this one out from the crotch all the way down. So this is my pant. Now with this here, I'm going to cut the back panel. This is my front panel, and I'm going to be adding a dart here. So from this point, I'm going to measure my nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 4.5, somewhere here. Sorry, 4 inch plus half an inch is 4.5. So my dart is going to stop. My hip is at 10. My dart will stop 2 inches before that, which is somewhere here. So my dart is going to go from here all the way to this point, almost like here. So this is going to be my dart. I'm going to go ahead and notch it. So when I go to sew, once I close up the crotch, I'm going to give it a dart. You understand? But before that, let me fold my fabric so we can cut the back. So guys, now what I'm going to do is to make sure that I have about, you see, I placed my front panel on the back. I'm going to make sure that I have about 3.5 inch here, which I don't have. So I'm going to move this a little bit more and then check again. So from the tip of this pant here, make sure I have about 3.5, which I have now. I'm going to connect it here. And then after that, the next thing is I'm going to give it 2 inch all the way here. So this is going to serve as my seam allowance. Distance of 2 inches from the point of this hair, because the back is going to have elastic, right? And then I'm going to make sure I have about 2 inch at the top also, which I have. So I'm going to connect it to the end here, somewhere here, just like that. You can do 2.5 if you want to, but this is okay for me. Down here, I'm going to add, let's say, about 1.5. And then down here, I'm also going to add about 1.5. Connect the two together from here all the way to this point. And then I'm going to connect from here to here. On this side here, I'm okay with just half an inch all the way. Just half an inch going up. Just half an inch. Just like this. So now I just have to cut everywhere that I have marked chalk here. I'm going to cut this half an inch line here all the way to this point, this curve of my, because your butt is at the back, so you need more room here. So that's this length here. So I'm going to cut from here to this point out and then down. As you see, all I have to do is just take my front panel, join the two crotch, take the back panel, join the two crotch, and then at the back also I'm going to notch it here, just so I can also add my dart here. But the dart at the back should be like 5 inches long. This will help it not to puff out too much when you put your elastic, because if you just go ahead and add an elastic here, the purpose of this dart is just to reduce the amount of fabric that will bulk up at the back. That's the reason why I add that at the back of the pant, right? Because normally when you're adding elastic to something, you don't normally put that there. But my only reason of adding a dart there is just to reduce the bulk of fabric at your butt here, because this is way more than what your waist would normally be, right? So just to help put the fabric together and not give it that much bulk of fabric, I like to just give it a little dart. It will reduce the fabric there, it will give it better shape. And then the one in front is just like to make the pants look good. You understand? The dart here is necessary also. So I'm just going to go ahead, and once I add my dart here, I'm going to add a band. The band I'm adding is just the same length as this pant here. You understand? Just the same length as whatever I'm going to need for the whole length of this front panel. So let me go ahead now and add my dart, and then I'm going to bring this back. So guys, if you look at it, you see that I've gone ahead and added my band to the waist. So basically my band is 5 inch of width. When it's open, folded into two is 2.5 on each side, right? And then what I did was just to use, remember the thickness of my band is going to be 2 inches, right? So the half an inch is what I used as my seam allowance to join it to the to it. So I went ahead, after adding my darts, I added the band both in front and at the back. So all I have to do is just to go ahead and add the elastic that is going to pull the whole waistline together, and then I'm going to join the side, join the crotch, and then join the other side too, and then fold the leg of the pant. If you also want to add a pocket to yours, just come down 2 inch after the band. So you're going to come down like 1 inch after the band, and then you're going to leave like 5 inches space in between there, and then add a pocket to it and close up the rest of the pant. So guys, this is it here. So the trouser is ready. Guys, you just have to fix the elastic till you feel like it's tight enough for you. And whatever you're doing, just know that you have to let the band, the elastic you're using at the back cannot be the same width as the waist in front. So the band must come towards the back, because remember, elastic stretches, right? The length of the band in front to measure the elastic, it has to be less than. Just pull the elastic until you feel like it's comfortable enough for your waist. And that is it. So this is the pant here, you see? And then this is the top part here. Like I said, if you want, you can change, you just have to stop it at this point, and then maybe use a button, or a button and and the loop. So that's basically it here. So this is what the back looks like. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.